guys, welcome back to my channel, Life as Naya. Where we talk about all things life, we talk about my life, and we have beautiful guests come on and talk about their life as well. Guys, we're actually giggly because today was not planned.
At all.
Not at all.
Nope. Actually, the plans have not gone the way they were supposed to.
Not at all
day.
We're supposed to be on the road right now.
We're supposed to be on the road. We probably would have been like an hour from where we're supposed to be, but instead we're on the couch talking.
Doing a pod on Sunday.
On a Sunday.
Lord's Day is going to be blessed. There it is.
Amen. I actually really love that we're doing this though, because it's just so random, but we just started having such authentic conversation. I was like,
So why not record it?
this needs to be on camera.
Exactly.
And I just thank you guys for agreeing.
Thanks for doing it.
But let me even introduce you guys. So this is Kayla and her husband Jonathan.
Nice to meet you.
Hello.
And we met at church a couple years ago. And we're all kind of like scattered. So we were supposed to go visit friends in Richmond. We're in Arlington and they're in Maryland. So they met us and then we're going to go to Richmond. It was a whole thing. Traffic. So now we're going to meet them. But it's
we're here. So
We're here. The point is we're here and we're having great conversation. So I do start off every episode with, if you could name this chapter of your life, what would you name it?
I would name it trusting. Because I need to trust, and I haven't felt like I'm there yet, but I'm trusting, and I'm getting there.
Trusting.
Yes, trying to trust. There we go.
Trying to trust.
There's a lot of shifting, a lot of moving, a lot of uncertainty right now, and I just have to learn how to trust God through it. So yeah.
That season.
I call it refining. I say refining in the sense of, we've built a foundation and being married for, a year and some change now, known each other for some time.
Our anniversary's tomorrow.
It is. Wedding anniversary's tomorrow.
Wedding anniversary?
Yeah.
Wedding anniversary's tomorrow.
First year.
Yep.
Yeah.
First wedding anniversary.
That's crazy.
And been married over a year. Obviously we did private ceremony a little bit earlier back in March. But yeah, nonetheless, refining in the sense of, we've got our foundation, but now it's like I feel like we're, as my wife just said, we're transitioning, we're going to somewhere new. A lot of changes on the horizon, but at the same time, it's just learning how to continue to just develop and grow. So.
Wow. It's funny how you guys' titles are kind of aligned in a sense. Do you guys find that being married, that you face the same seasons kind of in alignment, or you've been married for a while now. I mean, over a year is a pretty long time. Yeah. Or through that year, even just your relationship, have you guys ever experienced being in different seasons and having to work through that together?
Oh yeah.
I'll let you talk about it first. Yeah.
I mean, so Jonathan did a residency after his school. So we went through school together for 3 years. We were in the same curriculums, took tests at the same time. We were doing the same thing. So when we graduated school, he decided to do a residency, which was 1 more year of studying, of training, of all that stuff. I went into the workforce. So I'm during that year, I don't really see you. You're studying a lot. We're in different seasons. I'm not in the school season right now. You're still in the school season. And it was a struggle for honestly the whole year. I don't know if we ever really found, our rhythm during that time. But it was definitely a struggle season of learning where I am and where he is at that time, and trying to then come together in a new marriage as well too, which was
you guys were married.
We were married for a couple months, maybe 4 or 5 months when you started you started residency, we weren't married yet. And then we got married
5 months into
his residency.
Wow.
Yes. So I feel that was the main time where we weren't in the same season, and we had to learn how to just figure out each other, find each other's rhythms, but then also be able to come together to have our rhythms together as well. So I don't know if you know about that.
Yeah, and I'll even say after that, so residency ends, we move up here, and so we're in a brand new place, brand new area in Maryland. We're both Virginia kids. And, I think about now after residency, so pretty much my residency allowed for me to sit for my board certification. But studying wasn't over yet, and thankfully I tell everyone I would not have been able to even pursue what I wanted to pursue without the grace of my wife to even just sacrifice time with me a lot, you know, for that season, for that stretch, because it was like, you know, there were times where, Saturdays, we're 15 minutes from DC sometimes, or, you know, she wants to go explore, but it's like, hey, I'm not going to be free until like 2 o'clock. I'm studying from like 8 a.m. till 2 p.m. or whatever the case may be every Saturday. And it's like, we've just finished a whole work week and things of that sort too. And so like, it was really a stretch, but I think also a time for us to kind of learn how to make smaller moments count. I think sometimes it's like, that's one thing we learned as well. It's like, you know, we're on a different season and it may not always look like the big moment, like, the trip where we're spending countless time. But at the same time, it's like, we're able to make like these smaller things matter. But then now, thankfully, like, we're in a phase where we're finally aligned. Like, this is the first time, we were talking about it like 2 weeks ago. Like, this is the first time like Kayla has gotten to know me without any academic stress. Like, because we first met, we were going into PT school. Then I, like she said, continue with residency, continue to study for board exams. Like, this is the first time where it's like we can.
It's actually crazy.
Learn each other.
The realization of that.
It was like, wow, like she's never known me not as a student
without stress
until like March of 2025. And so we're still learning like this new life, this new season, these new cadences. But to answer your question, sure,
That's crazy. Especially as newlyweds, having to find that. Yeah. Especially because, like, I feel even me and my husband, like, trying to figure out how not to compare our newlywed season to everyone else's, like, romanticized stories, especially on social media. Because you think, like, the newlywed season should look like this. We should be happy. We should never not be aligned. And then you get in it and you're just like, what is going on?
I'm not aligned.
We're not aligned. There's no alignment. There is no alignment. And just really having to, like, one, like you said, like for you guys, it was making the smaller moments count, and for us, it was like, what does our marriage look like? Like, forget like premarital, the mentors, all those things are great, but like our marriage is gonna look so different than theirs, and like how do we like become aligned in this season? So the fact that y'all made it work, newlyweds, academic stress, and y'all still chose each other, I feel like that's so beautiful.
I still choose her every day. So.
Amen. Sweet stuff. Love. But honestly, we hopped on because I will talk about marriage, and that's not what we're here for. If it comes up, then that's another episode, right? And we gotta have Raji on for that one. We gotta have our other friends on for that one. That would be a good episode. I can't wait for that. But we were just actually talking about offline, off camera, about like feeling the call to ministry, or like knowing that's where God's calling you, but not knowing how it's going to get there. Like how you're going to get there, when he's going to put you there, or really wanting to be there but knowing you're not ready. And so we were talking about that offline, but I just want to bring the conversation to camera because I feel like a lot of people struggle with it. A lot of people jump into ministry too soon and maybe go through like some lessons that they could have avoided. So I guess before we get into that, I just ask you guys, have you ever done ministry in some type of form?
I'll say like grew up in church, so like serving from an early age. My parents, they were like over the porters or ushers ministry, so served a lot in that capacity. But then also like I played drums, so like played for my church through high school. And then kind of more recently, like young adult years, church that we all met in, being able to get connected there as well. So serving, but then also being able to start leading. Like I had a good friend who at the time was leading the life group, asked me to come along and help co-lead that. So that was something where like being able to start to pour in a young man in the sense of like, not giving sermons, but in the sense of like making sure that, this is more than just, we're hanging out. It's like, let's try to create a community and an environment. So that was really like my first real glimpse of it. Also being able to have other opportunities, whether it was, certain things where, discipling on Sunday, like a Shalom Sunday, like what Shalom concept was. For those like aren't familiar, pretty much it's just like that wasn't a Sunday service, but like sermon notes. But then after that, you're talking about the sermon notes, things like that. So those are really like my big first experiences, exposures to it as an adult, and then having friends and peers that are in it as well, like seeing how they're learning and exposing and growing. So I would say like that really was my first tapping of like, man, like it's the first place I can say I felt alive, fully myself. Like I would tell Kayla all the time, like. In the world, and as a believer in the world, sometimes it's like, we are always our light. We're going out and being the light of the world, but at the same time, it's like a place where I felt like I could authentically, like, fully show up as all facets of Jonathan, and like be in a place where I can fully pour. Sometimes it's like if I'm working with a patient, I mean, I'm not just gonna be like, hey, like let's really unpack like what Paul meant in this letter, right? Like, you know, I can mimic those things that we'll talk about later, but like, you know, being able to really get into those like facets of my life, because I mean, those are things that just I love to learn about, you know, as you know, being a believer and stuff like that. So, yeah, that would be my answer.
Yeah, I would say one, I grew up in church, but never like church was like somewhere that we go on Sunday, right? Like we go on Sunday. And then we go home. It was routine. It was very routine. So I honestly never saw myself like being in ministry, doing ministry. Like I was like, okay, yeah, when I grow up, I have to find a church and go as a routine. But once I did join TLC in Richmond, I was like, oh, there's more to it than just that. And so maybe last year or the year before, we were coming off of 21 days of prayer and fasting. My friend Amber, who it was like the last day of 21 days of prayer and fasting, she was like, "You want to lead a life group with me?" And I said, "No."
Yeah.
No, you did not. No.
It was emphatic, you know.
And yeah, my prayer honestly during 21 days of prayer and fasting was, Lord, like use me however you want to use me, right? And then and I said, no thanks. And I was like, she was like, really? And I was like, I'll think about it, sure, whatever. So I thought about it for like a few days, and the Lord was like, do it. Wow. And I was like, okay. I co-led my first life group. Was it last year? It was last spring. Wow. And honestly, it really was a great decision. Like, I was a participant in life groups. Like, that's where we met, you know, before that. But I was like, I can't lead a life group. Like, I still have my own flaws. I can't tell people how to live life and live a godly life and how to do this and that. Like, I don't even know. I'm still figuring it out for myself.
We're doing this together.
And so I guess it kind of will go more into our conversation later. But, like, there's different calls to ministry in different ways as well. So I would say that's kind of like a way that I have been in ministry so far. So yeah.
That is I did not know you loved the life group.
Oh yeah.
It's just so crazy. Because the history between
co-led, guys. Co-led.
See, look, like even she was going to say lead. Co-led. But she was a leader. You were more than a participant.
Yes.
Which is actually insane. Because Kayla, like we met because we were in life group together, and she was always so quiet, but like most consistent and always on time. And I always noticed that when she would come, I'm like, maybe she doesn't. I'm like, is she enjoying it? She doesn't really say much, but like she shows up every week and on time. There has to be something like she enjoys it. But
I think I do like these people. Like
I hope she's getting something. But even like how you said, Jonathan, you're like, oh, I'm not pastoring people. I do think sometimes we find like we think ministry is being on the pulpit, but there are so many like facets of how to do ministry, even outside the church.
For sure.
And I feel like, agreeing with you again, like when I'm sure you felt this way, like when you start seeing people open up more, you see people being more transparent, the first tiers of the group, or just being like, I'm the leader and I still struggle, like standing in that and being okay with that. Because even when I remember like my first Bible study, I felt like I used to come posh and I'd be like, I can't talk about this and that. But as soon as someone who was leading me was transparent and something that they still struggle with, I'm like, wait, so you don't have to be perfect to get there. Like, you just have to be there. And you have to be open and honest with the people that you're with. And I like the term life group even more than Bible study, because even that feels like, we're here for the Bible, but life group is like, we're here to do life together, share our life experiences together, and know that we can all show up as our authentic self. And that's, I've definitely done ministry in that way. I've served on the childcare, I've done life groups, I just do hospitality. Like, I love serving people. But for a while I did think like ministry was just me pastoring or on the worship team. I was like, can you give me a voice?
I give them that voice, Lord.
Serve everyone when you make me sing. But that prayer never was answered, so it's okay. We're showing up at right. You're a drummer. You have some type of I wish I had something. I don't got nothing musically inclined in me. But where was I going with my thoughts? Basically, like, ministry, it shows up in so many different ways, and how in church I love talking to people, but I really do find that the most fulfilling and like glorifying, and just like, wow, God, you was really in that. Even outside the church, like talking to complete strangers or family members who like you were like, they know churches on Sunday, but they don't have that real relationship with Jesus, and they've never been like experienced it. All they know is, especially my cousins in South Carolina, all they know is if you sin, you go to hell. You try not to sin, so you go to heaven.
Right.
And that is where I was for so long. But when you actually talk to them and you're like, no, Jesus is so much more than that, and you can like actually have a relationship with them. It's in those conversations I'm like, it has to be the Holy Spirit, because why do I just, after that conversation, I feel like I'm like floating. Like
you said, come alive.
You come alive. Yeah.
And I think as well, like, I mean, that's the Great Commission, right? Like, go out and make disciples. Like, simple as that. It's not just looking like, oh, it says go out, like, not just stay in the church once you get this knowledge. Like, that's the responsibility that I feel like we carry, and like to be able to walk that responsibility out with friends, family, and like just everyday people in everyday life. Like, we spend more time outside of church, frankly, than we do in church. Like,
Yeah. I was gonna say, so Jonathan and I are both physical therapists as well, and I feel like, okay, with this conversation, I do not feel led right now to go into the church to do ministry, but I feel that like my ministry right now is connecting with my patients.
I love that.
Every single day I come across people with like different walks of life. You know, I come across Christians, I come across atheists as well. I come like, you know, Catholics, like we were talking about Mormons this morning as well too, like a bunch of different religions. And I specifically remember this one patient I had at a previous job. I don't even remember how we got on the topic, but like every session she would come in, we would just talk about the Bible, like we would talk about religion, we would talk about Christianity, and I looked forward to that so much. And she was like my favorite patient. I was so sad to discharge her. I was like, you're so much better, but I don't want to get rid of you. But I was like, that's where we can come alive at. Like you said, it's not just that we're on a pulpit on Sundays preaching. Like there's other places, other spaces that we can come alive in and preach the gospel and make disciples out in this world as well too. So yeah.
And that's a ministry. And I think when we were just talking, it's like, yeah, we know that God is calling us to that, but it's like we do have to refine that to like, what is he calling you to directly though? Because like you said, it might not be in the church right now. Maybe he's saying like, for me, it's like, speak more on your platform that I've given you to talk about me, or you, like your clients that you're facing, like somebody needs to know my name. But those conversations can be uncomfortable sometimes. Do you guys, when you get that like push or that like feeling that God is asking you to bring him up or like lead a conversation in that way, how do you go about that? Or like, how do you know like God's calling you to even have a conversation with someone?
That's a good question. I think it's being sensitive to the Holy Spirit, honestly. Like, I mean, that's my prayer each and every day. I'm like, Holy Spirit, just lead me, guide me how you want to. But then also it's like that fear, I think we were talking about it right before even off camera as well, before starting this, like, I think that fear of like not knowing sometimes can like paralyze. And so like I've had moments where it's like, okay, I feel like I'm talking to someone and I feel like the conversation's going here. But like, what do I say or how do I say, you know, and things like that. Like I don't want to like encroach or step on toes and like just those natural things as well. It reminds me though of a quote that I heard, and it was like really, really helpful for me of just like realizing that it doesn't only look one way, like not even just like the setting, but even how it's delivered. And it's like this, like the quote simply says like, preach the gospel and when necessary use words. And I was like,
oh, that's good.
Wow, that's like really layered, because like in the sense of your natural, like how you even empathetically, that's what I'm looking for, empathetically lean into a patient. If someone's, you know, dealing with a tough time, like I've had a patient who, like, you know, for example, they went through something hard with something at home with their family, and okay, yeah, we're here to do physical therapy, but I'm gonna sit here and like talk to you about like, I'm gonna lean in and be a good person first. I'm gonna show you empathy. I'm gonna show you compassion. I'm gonna show you grace if you might have showed up late, but like life happened. And you know, I think that's where I see those moments show up right now the most in my life. In this current season is like, like I'm not necessarily like pulling text and pulling scripture, but I'm still showing the love of Christ. I'm still showing the light of Christ. And in reality as well, I think that's the most authentic way to be able to sometimes do it. So
I think one thing I'll say is your mom said it actually, that as a Christian you should be a billboard. That you don't verbally say anything, there's no noise that comes from it, but you see it. Like you should see it.
Right. There's there.
They said the worst like comment somebody can make is you like, you tell them I'm Christian, they're like, oh really?
Yeah, exactly.
Why? Like none of you should not. You should not. No one should be shocked if you mention that. So like The billboard thing is right. Like, you should see it before I see it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think for me, like approach, I don't think, like Jonathan said, like I don't come out and say like, do you believe in God? Like, are you a Christian? Like, you know, exactly. If a patient says something to me, then I'm like, okay, yes, let's open that door. Like, let's go there. But other than that, I try to show it with my actions, try to show it with my empathy, with grace, wisdom as well too, and kind of just go from there.
I'll even say too, and one more point to piggyback, I've learned to be confident in, like, even for example, like what'd you do this week in conversation, and that really happens in, you know, the 9 to 5 corporate setting. What'd you do this weekend? I went to church Sunday, you know, or like I'm on a fast right now. I will talk about those things because at the same time, I mean, like, look, people have no problem telling you the nice fancy trip they took, the new car they bought, you know. So like, Holy Spirit convicted me on that one day, like, you know, why do you kind of dance around faith, because you know, people be like, oh, keep faith up, but it's like, no, it's what I do, it's who I am. And so like, I'm not Bible thumping you, but at the same time, like, I'm a believer, I'm a man of God, and that's that. So like,
it shouldn't be taboo.
Exactly.
It has become taboo.
Exactly.
And even that reminds me of a conversation I had with someone. I tell my life on the internet all the time, so it doesn't matter. But my husband and I, when we were engaged, we were being very intentional with like abstaining. And a neighbor, I met her in the gym. We go downstairs, we're like chatting or not. She's like, "Hey, you wanna come down for some wine?" I'm like, "Sure." We go downstairs, we're just chatting, and she opens up about her and her boyfriend like struggling in that type of way. And she's like, "I really hope this isn't overstepping, but like, how often do y'all, like, I just want to know the norm." And I was like literally about to just say none with no context, but I was like, why are you ashamed to say like we're abstaining because we want to honor God, we want to honor our marriage? And when I tell you, I was struggling to say it, but I just felt like the Holy Spirit was like, are you ashamed? And as soon as I heard that, I was like, well, we actually aren't, because we're abstaining. And immediately her face was like, oh my God, like, I love that. She texted me again the next week. It's like, I just want to know more about your relationship with God. And I was like, there's no way. And so we started talking. She ends up starting my Bible study, and she expresses in the Bible study, never told me ever, but she's like, a week before I met Shemaya, half of her family's like another religion and the other half's Christian. And she was asking God, she was like, even if you're real, if you're one of this, if you're this or you're the other, I need you to let me know like who you are and how I need to come to you. Because right now I'm confused. Like, my family's in conflict, but I know I want God, just to know how that looks like. And she's like, a week later I met Shemaya, and we started talking about God. And I'm like, imagine if I would have missed that opportunity. And I was just like, yeah, girl, my man, we not intimate either, because just because I just wanted to relate to you instead of like just telling my truth. And that was like one of the first things I was like, oh wow, God knows, like he's not like, first of all, we shouldn't be uncomfortable with it. Obviously, like, we live in a world where it can be, but like, if he's pushing you to speak about him, you cannot miss the opportunity. And I would have felt terrible missing that opportunity, but like hearing that, like, wow, really, guys, in all the details. God, his love, his grace and mercy, that's all so beautiful. But if we're being honest, sometimes the walk with Christ can be difficult. And honestly, more often than not. I feel like people need to hear that truth, because they come to Christ and they're like, we hear about his love, we hear about his grace, and all those things are true, and thank God they're true, because they help you get through the hard seasons. But we are called to some hard seasons sometimes. And I find like the hard seasons aren't always just hard because you're just going through like financial issues or your breakup. Sometimes hard seasons are just because you simply have to wait. And you have to be sad, and you have to listen to where the Lord is taking you. Can you guys recall a time where, well, it's a twofold question. Recall a time where you've had to wait on God and his promise, and how do you steward that season well?
I'll say right now, we're like getting ready to transition areas again in life, so we're going to a new place, and like that was something that like God put on our heart back in like March of this year, like, hey, this might be, you know, a new opportunity for a season, and then he'll just drop that first. And it's funny, I always like laugh with Kayla, I'm reminded of a text in Genesis when God was speaking to Abraham, and was like, go to the place that I will show you. Like, God never actually is just like, here's the whole plan. Because if you had that whole plan, and you're like, okay, cool, I don't really need faith.
Or you'd be too scared to even walk into
it. I'm like, that's wild.
I don't want to go there.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like God had kind of like put that like on both of our hearts of like, hey, like, you know, yep, I got you here right now, but I might be calling you to something else. And we're like, okay. So like in the meantime, it's like, well, how do we wait? And that's something I've had to learn like over my walk with Christ as well. It's like, what is my posture while I wait? My favorite verse, Isaiah, it was actually the devotional this morning. We did a Bible devotion, but then also a couple others. But like Isaiah 40:31, like, wait on the Lord, and you shall renew your strength. But it's like, how do I wait?
How do you wait? Yeah.
You know, because I'm just sitting here. You could do nothing, or it's like, okay, I can seek Him more. I can try to create space in our life. So we even wrote down like this in faith. We were like, God, this is what we're believing for. Like, we know what our season looks like now, but this is exactly where we believe you're taking us. This is exactly what we want, and this is exactly what we're praying for. And God was like, cool. And we were like, I wrote it down on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Right.
We had dates like by this day and everything.
Wow. I mean, he does trying to write the vision and make it plain. Okay. That's your word, guys. I'm
just trying to, be obedient.
Yeah, just write it out. But then and then like months and months, and like continue to remain faithful, continuing to pray, continuing to just seek Him. And then, over that time, He's like giving piece. And then like an opportunity has now popped up that literally we now look back, I think last week we looked back at what we wrote down back in March, and we're like, man, like this opportunity literally answers every single thing that we wrote down in prayer. It doesn't look exactly how we thought it would look. Because I'm like, man, like I thought like the role was going to look like a certain type of role, and we were like, hey, God, you're going to have us buy a house this year.
That one.
We were grieving that one a little bit, but we see His timing, we see His reason, we see His buy-in. And so, I think that's just like a most recent example of just like how, like, okay, like God was like, I got something for you. It's not here yet. I'm going to put it on your heart, but now like your posture as you wait. And I'm just a firm believer, like God will reward you for like your posture as you're waiting on Him to fulfill His promise. Because we know His promise is going to be fulfilled.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like also, I think we got to learn, and like you can speak to this a little bit, I think too, like letting go of like our idea of what we want it to look like as we're waiting for something.
Well, she's like, can I? I sure can.
I can say that, and I was also gonna say, it doesn't all happen at the same time. Like all of those things that we wrote down on that paper did not happen at the same time. So, Jonathan got a new role, which requires us to move to North Carolina, and so he got his role like a month or so ago, maybe. So I'm like, man, I gotta find a job. Like, I really love my job here. Like, I'm leaving a great salary and great people, being the director of this clinic to like, what's it gonna look like?
You're the director?
Of my clinic. Guys.
People
playing small.
People be like, Johnny, I'm like, no, this is really like the MVP.
Guys, she said director, and I said of my you're my clinic. Director in the title. I don't care. So no, I emphasize that because I'm like, you're not walking away from just like You're just walking away from a good position.
And so like during this time, I'm like waiting, and I'm applying. I think I've sent out maybe like 10 applications. I kid you not. Guys, I'm not good at recalling verses, but one during my like weekly Bible studies, seed time and harvest kind of popped up, and so planting your seed on good ground, and kind of like something that honestly popped up there and popped up in my head now is like when you plant seeds, even if it's on good ground, all of them don't sprout at the same time. Like one plant's gonna sprout, the other plant's gonna sprout. Like not everything's just gonna bloom at the same exact time. So Jonathan's, he planted on good soil. His opportunity bloomed. Like we have to wait for the whole garden to come about, right? And so I'm sitting here, I'm waiting, I'm sending out applications, and it's just funny because there's this one particular job that I declined twice. I told her, I was like, no, thank you. Oh, wow. And I'm going to apply to other jobs, right? And so she comes back and she's like, well, what if we do this and we like put in this salary and, give you this, that? And I'm like, no, thank you. Twice. And I'm like, God, you keep opening this door when I'm trying to close it. Right. Mind you, all the other jobs, there was something wrong with it that I like didn't like. And He said, close. And I'm like, okay, Lord, like,
He won't give another option.
So I did decline it the second time. And so I prayed, and like all the other jobs were like even just something I didn't like, or even it was like a salary. And she was like, okay, well, like the other jobs, like, okay, well, we're not doing that salary, so sorry. And I'm like, all right, well, not doing that. Yeah. Or just like some other things that closed that door. Yeah. So I literally just signed this offer letter for the job that I declined twice on Friday, so just 2 days ago.
Amen.
For another client director role. So yeah, I say all that to say that it doesn't all happen at the same time.
Right.
You have to wait. Sometimes you have to, I had to fall into your role, and we had to make sure that was good first, and then fall into my role. And now we're moving. We still don't have anywhere to live right now. Wow. But we're not worried about that. We just talked about that last night. We don't need to be stressed. We don't need to be worried because we know God has a perfect place for us.
Yeah.
And it's that waiting season. Not everything is going to be great when we want it to. And I think that was also my problem as well, too, with these jobs is like, God, Jonathan has his, so I need mine right now, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it was like, no, you're going to wait.
You're like, still my daughter. He's
exactly. I have it. Like, I have the timing.
I have it planned.
Yeah.
And I think, too, it's like, if I can add as well from a perspective, like, being a partner in that situation, I think, like you mentioned, sometimes it's hard because it's like, we're one, but I also think sometimes do happen on different times. When your analogy was so beautiful of like, yep, one sprout happens, another sprout happens. But I'm like, okay, yeah, I got my sprout, but like, God was still like, and we were fasting together at the time, and God's like, no, like the fast isn't over yet. Like, just like you were earnestly praying for yourself, now, yeah, keep praying for yourself in the sense of you outside of you is being your partner in that sense. So like, from my perspective, just like learning how to wait well with my wife, like still praying earnestly for her, still trying to show up for her in the best ways that I can, and like making sure that like, okay, God, like we know what you can do. I thank you for what you've done for me, but also it's like we're still believing for more too. And it's just like, I think that was a good lesson in this season, at least for me as a partner. Just like, again, like it's so easy to be selfish of like, yeah, got mine.
I got mine.
Yeah, well, she'll get hers. But it's like, no, like that's something too. So I can just encourage anybody that ever hears this, like, make sure you just continue to show up, for your partner, not just physically, but lean into them.
And I think it's honestly like, I know we're all married. Show up for your friends too.
Yeah.
I think is a big thing as well too. Yeah. Like I think a lot, and even in like social media age, and now it's like, oh man, we're jealous of her because she got this role, or she's doing that, or she's going on these trips. Like, show up for your friends and their wins as well too. I just gosh, that I'm not hurting for whoever needs to hear.
No, but that is important because a lot of times we are just so like invested into our own lives, and then you think like, I could easily just look at you guys and be like, they're married, they're doctors, like they're good, not even knowing that you guys have gone through a season where you have to transition. Like it's so easy to make those assumptions, and without having the conversations with friends, family, whoever that looks like, you don't know. And it's like, you need to know to pray with them, to help them through that, to fast, like all those things come even outside of a marriage.
For sure.
But I did want to say, like, just listening to you guys, I'm just like, wow, this is like a model of the importance of being equally yoked.
Yeah.
Like knowing together, let's write this down together, let's pray together, or even you guys both hearing in March that God was like, I might be taking y'all to something new. Like imagine if one of you guys were just like not in tune with God, and then you have to like listen to Jonathan. You're like, boy, you're not hearing that.
Not with that.
Or like Kayla's like, I feel like God is like, no,
we're
staying here. Like, so I think that is so important to like making sure you choose your partner who's gonna be there for you for the rest of their life, that you guys both hear God's voice. Because it's going to be decisions where there's no real logic, and it's just like, I'm only depending on God.
Yeah.
And then, one more thing, because I'm just like, y'all had so much. I'm definitely gonna talk, but even when y'all were talking, I'm like, we said this before.
Yeah.
Without those type of seasons, like without like looking back and being like, wow, God did it, you can hit another waiting season, another hard season, and be like, not have nothing to pull from. But like now this is going to be a testimony to the next season, or just to the next person watching this, or somebody you guys talk to, like, no, trust me, I know what waiting looks like.
I mean, that's really even in the season that we were in right now. I'm like, babe, like we've seen God be too faithful in our lives. Like we've seen him literally do so much. Like, we both talk over. I've seen too much. Like, I've seen him do too much for us to be like, we forget his care. But it's so amazing how sometimes in our human nature, our human mind. Like, we very quickly, a mountain will rise or a situation will rise.
And we forget.
And we just go, like, completely mentally break. And God always checks me, like, so you just really gonna forget.
Yeah.
Oh, like, you've seen mountains
I'm the
before.
same guy. Like, yeah, or especially when you've experienced it, it's like, you could read the Bibles and be like, oh, he did that for Moses. He did that for Abraham. But it's like when you can look back in your memory and remember, no, God did this for me. Like, that is when, like, even I'm really like to journal, or I have like a notes in my phone where I just put sweet reminders. Because sometimes I just need to read back and be like, remember when, like, I'll put the day, like, struggling with and then when God does a fix, I'll be like, remember when
that's good.
And the most recent sweet reminder, I feel like God is hilarious. He's so funny. And I think he knows he has to be funny with me because I'm not that serious. I like to laugh. But I was watching a podcast with Joe L. Barnes.
Okay.
And he was talking about with his like music, how for a while like nothing was giving. And that was his living. Like he wasn't being able to get paid from it.
Right. Wow.
And he asked God, he went to church, he heard a sermon, and the preacher was basically like, some plants that like have fruits, they can have a full blossom of fruits the first year, but the tree wasn't pruned enough and it was too weak to carry that much fruit. So sometimes farmers, instead of allowing the fruits to bloom the first year, they'll just like prune the seed so that no fruits will grow, but then the next year, the tree will be strong enough to carry the fruits. And he walked away from that sermon and was like, okay, God, if I'm not strong enough to carry all the fruits that you're giving me, just give me one peach. Give me one thing to just let me know that I'm on the right track. And this was in the car when I was telling you guys I was going through my mental breakdown. So I paused it right there and I talked to God. I was like, listen, you're going to have to give me a fruit. Give me one fruit. Even if you don't want to reveal all the plants to me, I need you to give me one fruit, because I've always felt this calling to, share my story on the platform. And I never, like, sometimes it makes more than ever, I'm getting so much more uncomfortable with it. And I feel like that's how I know I'm getting closer to something, because, like, it just becomes this tension. And so I'm like, I feel goofy. Like, I could just, why are you telling me to share my journey of being a chef online? Why am I telling my testimony on YouTube? Like, what is going on? But I was like, before I delete all my social media, become incognito, I need you to give me a fruit. Make sure that I'm on the right track. Funny enough. So I also have a list of like businesses I want to work with. So I just go, I see Fruit Riot in the store, and I pick up a couple, and I'm like, I'll make a video about it. Cool. Immediately I post a video, and they DM me.
Wow.
And they're like, hey, we loved your video. We love to use it, but can we also just send you something? And so they send me this PR thing, and I'm like, wow, God said you fruits.
Right.
There you go.
And they gave me fruit, and then I was just like, what? What? And I didn't even realize the correlation with me asking for fruit and then Fruit Riot coming in my DMs until I was sharing it on Bible study. And they're like, do you notice how you ask for fruit? And God was like, the one of the businesses that you have on the top of your list that you want to work with sends you fruit that week. I was just like, wow, God's so good. And it's just been time, especially with social media, like it's been time and time again, I just be like, I don't want to do this. And then I'll get a random DM from somebody like, you're inspiring me so much. So I'm gonna keep going. I know this one girl specifically was like, I know you being online is so vulnerable, but I hope you understand how much that helps. And that was the thing I was like going back and forth with God with, because I'm just like, can I get online and just be goofy? Like, talk about nothing serious. Why do I feel like you're calling me and talk about these serious topics? Like, can I just, I don't know, talk about makeup or something? And it's just like, no, but that's not your lane, that's not your calling. So when she used those words specifically, I was like, wow, God, you're really telling me to keep on going. So that's definitely been one of my most recent examples, but I feel like just how I try to steward the season well is, I'm not really good at recalling scripture that well either yet. But one of my favorite one in James is, take joy in trials and tribulations because you know, actually I'm just gonna read it.
There we go.
It's in my 911 scriptures because I'm gonna break down what he's saying, because this was one of my favorites. Like, I was like, oh my God, next time I go through a season, I am considering it joy. So it goes, James 1 verse 2 through 4. consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking of anything. And that was just one of the ones I feel like, listen guys, when we go through things, I tell my Bible study, joy, because we know he's maturing something in us. He's completing something in you, and this is what that trial is going to do.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to go through that when you're not going through the season. But this time of just waiting and not truly knowing like what lane God's taking me in, which for me is so hard because I've always been plan, sticking to the plan. But I'm like, obviously there's something in me that you need to mature. There's something in me that you need to complete. And so even through this trial, I need to be considering it joy because like on the other end of this, I'm going to be a more mature and complete version of me. And I find that to be so encouraging because it's not like God is saying you're going to go through bad things, period. It's like when you go through these things, you are going to come out with something being more complete in you. And I feel like we see that in the scriptures over and over again. Like when you suffer, like God, like don't even consider the sufferings of today because like they don't even compare to the glory that will be identified. Like he doesn't just give us like hard seasons. Like I'm just so glad that we don't have hard seasons that are just done in vain. Like there's purpose, no waste.
There's purpose to it.
Nothing's wasted. He uses everything and there's always purpose in it. And for me, this season of waiting, I'm just really, really, really gonna be like, God, you got it. Like I'm literally giving him the front seat. And Jackie Hill was like, one of the things she recently uploaded, she's like, if you're ever suffering or you just need some encouragement, like I would say go read Hebrews in one sitting. And so I saw that and I immediately did. I didn't get through it all in one season because I was like, give me a second. I'm getting ready. Give me a second. But just even getting to 7, I kept, like, it didn't even say in the scriptures, but I kept hearing God say, don't be sabotaged by sight. Like, just because you don't see what I'm doing, don't get stuck in the ups, or don't harden your heart because you don't see it. Don't get upset at me because you don't see it. Like, I still have the power to do what I promised you.
And faith is the evidence of things not seen.
Exactly. And it's so cute. We got faith in Jesus. faith. But it's like in the season where you really have to have faith, that is a muscle you have to build. And again, like how we've been saying this whole time, like that is what you have to bring back to memory. Like God is the same God that's brought me through this. He's the same God who's done this. And because of this, like he does not change. He cannot lie. Like he's not like man. And sometimes we try to like put him in that category. Like your friend make a promise to you 2 months ago, they still haven't done it. You're like, all right, they're doing it. But it's like he is like time to him is just so different from us.
He is time.
He is You're mad because he hasn't moved in your time, but he still is like the promise still remains. And so that's the season I'm going through. And you really have to. And I think so many times we think like. You hear people's, which I'm so glad we're having this conversation now because you always hear the end of the story. Like, God did this and he's amazing, but it's like, what is it in the middle of it? Like, what were you doing in the middle of it that got you through it? And we're going through it, but we'll be back in 6 months with an update. Wait, let me not say 6 months because I'm going to be like a year from now.
6 months and be like, so it's been 6.
In God's timing.
In God's time.
Whatever that is.
It's been 6.
But I definitely want to steward this season well because I just imagine how many other seasons I didn't because I tried to take the role of God, honestly, quite frankly, and just went through so much unnecessary turmoil to finally get to the end of myself and be like, Jesus, now you got it. Like, you didn't have to become that weak. You didn't have to die that much to yourself.
I wanted to go this bad. I think the video is like, he still even is with us when we do that. You know, like, even when we're impatient or waiting, we're like, you know what, we just want to go ahead and go. You know, he's like, man, I gotta watch you bump your hair. But he still is right here with us to like, walk with us, still have his hand on us in that moment. Not to say, like, just go willingly do it because it's so easy to, but at the same time, it's beautiful how he's able to sustain and restore us
even through it all. Like his grace truly still remains. But this is a great conversation, guys.
There's like so many more avenues to it.
So more. Like you guys have to come on. We're gonna have to go to North Carolina.
Come to North Carolina.
Do a couple more of these. release.
We're gonna see Jonathan launches.
Yeah.
Let me not announce.
No, we'll talk about it. We talk about like waiting and being fearful. I believe like we talk about gifts and like again, I don't think that maybe ministerially God is right now like go play in a church and be right here. But at the same time, like he's giving me a lot of gifts that I vent to Kayla about all the time. I know she's probably tired of hearing me talk about them all the time. Because it's just like things that I'm just like, I know he's purposed me with. Gifts of different seasons of my life, whether it's speaking, communicating, whatever the case is. But it's that fear. It's that fear of like, I really like actually gotta trust God without seeing it. Like school, at least it was like, okay, I know if I take this test, I'm gonna get this grade. If I study, I'm gonna usually get a good grade. If I prepare for this, and so much of my life has been in that safe bubble.
For sure.
But there are so many like visions and things He's even put on both of our hearts, and we're just like even still actively praying on. Like we got whole business plans of stuff like written on the dot that I'm just like.
We have a whole LLC.
Yeah, like we got stuff that we're just like
just not moving.
Okay, like
or waiting for God.
It's kind of fearfully, but also some of us too.
You're right.
Because like sometimes as well, it's like God's giving the green light, and it's like we like try to find every reason to still wait,
true too.
Which is crazy. Which that's gonna have to be another topic another day. But
when God finally gives you the yes, you're like, but
right. And I think as well, like part of what like to answer what you were just saying as well, I think is like, God's waiting for me to take some of these steps to then fully be like, all right, cool. Now, like you're using your gift, because like I think someone mentioned it to me as well in the sense of when you don't use your gift, you're not only hurting yourself. There are people out here that can benefit from your voice. There are people who are able to wait from your gifts, and it's like it's almost selfish to take like the parable of the talents when the person gave his 3 different servants different talents and he went away. And the one person has kept the talent for himself, and didn't multiply it, didn't grow it, to do anything with it. And so it's like God has given me gifts, and so this is so needed. Y'all like even inspiring me to be like, like
this was so.
It's time to launch some stuff. It's time to do it scared, and time to jump into it scared. And God's still right there with you.
So, you can do it. I think today's evidence.
Today
is evidence that God is ordained in time. Like I literally, even since when I saw the traffic, I was like, what are we talking about right now? I was like, instead of being upset, maybe this is an opportunity to catch up with them and we could talk and so who knew it was going to turn into this, but so glad that it did.
The whole pod episode.
A whole pod. And this was probably a reminder for them to get started. But before we close out, I just launched it yesterday, but I'm starting a new segment at the end. It's going to be called, I love food, I'm a chef. It's going to be food for thought. So you're going to leave the viewers with something to either ponder on, think about, or it could still be life advice, but just give them something, food for thought.
I think food for thought is showing up daily. And what I mean by that is like, I'm learning in this season, like I can feel even like times when I get comfortable, I get complacent, and maybe it's like, okay, cool, like maybe I don't put as much effort into something like I once did. Whether that be even like transparent, like walk with Christ, or like my faith, like man, okay, if I do my devotion every day, but am I really taking my deep time to study, right? Am I doing this as transactional? In my marriage, we spend time together, we see each other every day, but am I really taking that extra step to show up daily? And I think a lot of times once we have, reached promises or have seen like promises fulfilled, it can get really easy to be like, you're comfortable now in the place. Good, and you're like, man, like I'm living a life, like a lot of goals have been checked off, a lot of things have been accomplished, but like as long as we're breathing, I'm a firm believer that like God has more work for us to do. Like there will always be work for us to do. And so I think just like not getting complacent and comfortable with just being consistent with those habits that got you there, but also at the same time learning, and that's where I think the beauty of the Holy Spirit is what new skill sets or things are needed for the next season. And that's where I kind of mentioned at the beginning, refinement. Like I'm realizing a lot of things that did get us here, while they were great, there are going to be new things that maybe need to be built now off of that, or even things need to be taken away, because it's like, that was really helpful to allow for us to get here. I learned God in one way in one season, rather than chasing the God that He met me when I just needed to learn Him more in a more intimate space. Now, God, how do you want me to learn your nature more in this phase of my life too? And so I think that's where like that consistency comes in, that I'm even preaching to myself. So that's food for thought. Jonathan, I hope you hear this when you watch this back. But then also it's like anybody else that can hear.
I think mine would be, it's similar to kind of like the cliche of Jesus take the wheel, but like take your hands off the wheel. I am a very type A person. I like things my way. Even Jonathan can attest. I like things my way.
He does.
And if it's not my way, then I don't like it. And I've had to learn throughout this season, it's not my way. I am not the author. I'm not the finisher. I am not the in-between of that.
You are the servant.
I am the servant, and I am here to listen. I'm here to be obedient. I am here to do whatever he tells me to do. And so that's one thing that I have struggled with, and I still wrestle with, honestly. I mean, up until I declined the job twice that he was trying to tell me to take. Like,
clearly,
I wrestle with it daily. But I think we just need to have that discernment. I think with that discernment, you have to have wisdom to be able to figure it out. With that wisdom, you then need to be obedient with it to go out and do whatever God's calling you to do, and then that's where you find your favor. And so I think that's food for thought. Is take your hands off the wheel. It's not your life; it's His. And just kind of go from there.
That's good. Honestly, I don't have much food for thought to add. I feel like they left you with a lot. The one thing I will say is, this is something that I'm going to even keep pondering on. It's like, we have experience, like you said, Kayla, trying to be the author, trying to be the person who drives. We've experienced doing things in our way so many times. I just wonder how different the outcome will be if we allow God to be the forefront. Like, let Him have all those titles that we try to take. I wonder how the outcome would be different. And that's food for thought for you guys. So guys, thank you for coming on to Last Minute.
Thanks for having us.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Even while you guys are giving your food for thoughts, I'm like, that's a conversation we can have. Like, that's another conversation.
So
expect them again. Like, honestly, expect them on again. I cannot wait. But yeah, guys, if you like this conversation, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
See y'all.